Woman, Wonder Woman. All the world is waiting for you and the power you possess. In your satin tights, fighting for your rights, and the old red, white, and blue.
Wonder Woman, one of DC's most prominent characters, featured in one of the top films of 2017, yet largely misunderstood and commonly forgotten. We asked random strangers about their knowledge of Wonder Woman, and their responses were typical.
I really don't know too much about Wonder Woman. I just know she's a superhero woman, and she spins around and becomes Wonder Woman, and she has these bracelets that she can deflect bullets or use as weapons against other bad people. I don't know. That's about all I know about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I think she's one of the only female superheroes. She's hot.
Wonder Woman takes me back to my childhood. I remember, what was her name? Somebody Carter. Linda Carter was the actress, and she would, I don't know if she got a phone call or if somebody contacted her, but she spun around really fast, and then voila, she was Wonder Woman in this little outfit that looked like it hardly fit. It was a little shiny, little red, white, and blue, gold. She had this headband on, and she would jump in her invisible jet, which you can kind of see the outline, and she would fly off to wherever she needed to save the day. And usually there was, of course, the bad guy who would fire shots at her, and she would chink chink with her wrists in cross position, and the bullets would bounce off her handcuffs. And that's about all I remember. I don't remember how she turned, why she turned into Wonder Woman. Of course, something bad was going on, but other than that, I don't know too much. I don't know what she did when she was not in her Wonder Woman costume. If she worked at, I think she worked at some kind of office, but I have no idea. That is it.
Hot girl that does all the DC stuff. She's also, I don't really know much about her. I just saw the movie, thought it was okay. Really wasn't that great of a movie. She fought in World War I apparently. That was in the movie.
Wonder Woman was originally played by Linda Carter. Linda Carter was a famous TV personality, probably going way back before my time, but in the 1980s she played Linda Carter. Wonder Woman TV series that was on every week, and so that show was wildly popular, so everyone watched it. And I know that she has this lasso that makes criminals tell the truth, and she has armbands that turns away bullets.
Interesting, right? Although perhaps more interesting than the character herself was the life of her creator. Learning more about William Marston will help to provide more insight on the significance of Wonder Woman. Marston was born on May 9, 1983 in Saugus, Massachusetts. He attended Harvard University and graduated with a PhD in psychology in 1921. He went on to be a professor at Tufts University in Medford and at American University, as well as serving as the director of public services at Universal Studios in California. He married his wife Elizabeth and had 2 kids with her.
The second question is, what do you know about the lie detector?
Well, the lie detector, if I'm understanding your question right, is usually a device that's used for investigation from time to time to see whether the criminal or the alleged criminal is telling the truth.
Do you think that it's still a viable option even if people can get around it?
So allegedly there are some people who know how to maybe control their body or their responses to the degree that a lie would not be detected, but I think it has a place in investigation.
Don't work. Sometimes. I don't know. Don't really know much about them.
Marston, with the assistance of his wife, came up with the idea of the systolic blood pressure test, aka the lie detector test. Elizabeth suggested a correlation between emotion and telling a lie. After further research, William found out that it was a spike in blood pressure that is associated with lying. Sure enough, when he hooked the device up to his wife, it was evident that her blood pressure continued to rise when lying. Marston began to look at possibilities to commercialize Larson's polygraph machine and specialize it for lie detection. Showing how committed he was, Marston sent a letter to President FDR with a proposal to use it for interrogation during World War II and further military uses.
How do you feel about lying to your own kids?
Lying is one of the worst things that anyone can do, period. I cannot stand it. I don't want to be associated with people who would consider lying. Lying is not good. I think in almost any circumstance, there are a few cases where you might, that's the only way to protect the well-being of someone. But I think in almost every case, lying is not an option.
No problem at all.
Yeah, no problem.
If it has like a good reason behind it.
Like a white lie is okay.
No.
White lie is okay.
No, because then when they find out, then they'll think it'd be okay to lie, and they'll start whooping their butt because they're lying at me. So I don't want that to happen.
Marston's family relationships were anything but typical. While teaching at Tufts University, he met his mistress. This was no ordinary mistress because she was also one of his students. Her name was Olive Byrne, and she bore 2 of his children as well. This was also very unique because their relationship was not kept a secret. After some time, he openly told his wife and presented her with an extremely hard decision: to either allow Olive Byrne to move in with them or to file for a divorce. His wife accepted the deal in which she would be allowed to go to work while Byrne stayed and cared for the kids. Both Byrne and Holloway gave birth to 2 kids, but the fact that Byrne had children was withheld from the public until 1963. After Byrne's children were born, they were adopted by Holloway and Marston to try and conceal the fact that they were Olive's. People finally found out because Holloway admitted it after swearing to never speak of it again. Isn't it ironic that the man credited with inventing the lie detector built his children's lives on a lie? Through Marston's research, he became convinced that women were more honest than men and were more capable than men at certain tasks. He became an outspoken force in the women's rights movement because he believed women were not only equal with men, but were superior in certain areas. Marston saw great educational potential in comic books, but had a problem with the fact that the comic book industry was dominated by male superheroes. His wife Elizabeth actually came up with the idea of a female character, and Marston took off with it. Rather than fighting with force, he wanted a character that fought with love. He was given the okay by his bosses at DC, and Wonder Woman was born. Her character was influenced by the women in Marston's life. She was strong-willed and broke the norms of normal women's roles at the time. Her famous bracelets used to deflect bullets were based on the jewelry worn by Olive Byrne. Wonder Woman comic books and films are still in production to this day. There was also a strong connection between Wonder Woman and Margaret Sanger, Olive Byrne's aunt. Sanger was a leader in the feminist movement and fought primarily for birth control and other women's rights. Like Byrne and Elizabeth, Sanger was strong-willed, and this was evident in Wonder Woman's character. Wonder Woman also carried a lasso that would force her enemies to tell the truth, another connection to Marston's past. Marston wrote until he died of skin cancer in 1947. His legacy lives on, and he was inducted into the Comic Book Hall of Fame in 2006. His work inspired many girls and young women. His work was instrumental in the movement for women's rights as women became proud to be who they were. As women pursued a larger role in American society, Marston's work made the movement mainstream and led to great change.